Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, September 30th, and we are closing out the month with a wild and wonderful episode. We are introducing today our fellow collaborators and cohort members for Epoch 9, Octant's public good funding round that Rise Up is participating in. And the question, of course, is how do you, is it Epoch?
I'm
Epoch?
officially starting the petition for Epoch.
Epoch.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Epoch.
Yeah.
Epoch?
It feels good.
Mm.
It feels good to say.
It
Very
does. It feels
phonetic.
better.
Because it's not
It feels
epic.
better.
I mean,
it is kind of epic, though, and
It's
epic.
epic.
Epic is an acceptable pronunciation of that word. In fact, I routinely pronounce this word that way, epic. But I think people misunderstand me. Speaking of things you might understand or not, you may notice that we are joined in studio today by special guest host. Give it up for returning friend of the show, Brooke Lacey, ladies and gentlemen. Give her some canned applause. She is also among our cohort members, collaborators. She was accepted into Epoch number 9. So congratulations, Brooke. Very, very
9.
cool. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And she agreed to help us interview some of the folks that are in the cohort. So, Brooke, I would actually love to talk a little about your project maybe later in detail, but can you give us a teaser and a refresher for folks who may not have seen you on the show before, who you are, what you do, and what you're doing for Epoch 9.
So wait, a refresher, not the video, but just give a once
just
over
give a
and then
little
we'll talk about it later.
teaser. Yeah.
A little teaser. So I think a lot of your audience may know me from TikTok. Been around a while. My teaser is that I make shit funny, and the like complicated stuff kind of funny, and throw in that humor a little bit. I know you guys like to do that sometimes too, because people will remember you for how you make them feel, and I think humor is the best way to feel good. So, and laughing. So that's kind of the teaser of it, is that the show that I was accepted into the Epoch for is called Amongst a Potted Plant. We're just going to leave it like that, and you're going to have to stick around to the end of the show, and I'm going to explain more and show you a video, and it's just absolutely hilarious. Yes, Between Two Ferns is the catalyst to this. And if you haven't seen that, you should really get off. You just get off and go watch a few episodes of that.
Yeah, leave this, come back, and you're going to be happier and better for it.
Like, not right this second, but yeah. Watch the rest of the show, and then you'll understand.
Well, I'm very excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm hoping Brad Pitt's a guest.
Oh my gosh.
Is he an Ethereum leadership position?
I don't know.
He's not.
Maybe.
If he's not, he should be.
If he's not, there'll
really
be a Super Bowl
be.
commercial one day.
So if it happens, we definitely have to have you back on the show to talk about it. But we're going to talk a little more about Amongst the Potted Plant and Brooke's plans for world domination. I mean, to educate people about ETH later in the show. Right now, I do want to bring up some more of our collaborators. We're going to be flashing links on the screen. If you miss it, you can get it in the comments. And I do want to remind everybody, especially if you're tuning in for the first time, the Rise Up Morning Show is available on your favorite social media platform, especially where your Web2 friends live, because we're here to share helpful news, commentary, answers to their crypto questions that are antithetical of the hype, that actually help people understand what a blockchain is, why it might matter to them personally, and then how to get started safely, confidently. So if that sounds like something you would like to share with your friends, your relatives, we would encourage you to do it. You can find all of the links to all of our stuff, including past episodes and this one at rumshq.com. So without further ado, what do you say? Let's get into some of our friends from the Epoch. First, I want to bring up from ETHPanda, joining us live from an Ethereum mixer. She's actively working on the ground. We have got Vaelyn. Please give her a warm welcome. Vaelyn, thank you so much for making time to join the Rise Up Morning Show. How are you?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you
yeah.
just
We got you.
perfect.
Oh my
Where
God,
in the world
thank
are
you
you?
so much. I am in Singapore. So hello, everybody. I am calling from Ethereum Singapore, and I'm attending a Founders Night mixer hosted by the Ethereum Foundation, connecting with startups, communities, as well as VCs. And I would love to show you the insane view of this venue. We're on the 70th floor, 70. So
Whoa.
the skyline of Singapore is insane, but I just got told off by the restaurant owner that I can't do that. So I'm in a little corner of the lift trying to do this live stream. Yeah. So please support us.
Also, people who can't see, who are in podcast land listening only, I just want you to go check out the YouTube screen share because Vaelyn, is that a tiny panda on the
Tiny,
brim of your
adorable
hat?
Panda.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Yes, it is.
For ETHPanda, I would assume.
So,
Yes.
Vaelyn, I'm wondering if you can give us just a quick overview and a snapshot for all of the people listening who are not familiar with ETHPanda. What is ETHPanda?
Absolutely. So ETHPanda is a Chinese community, which is acting as a bridge between Chinese developers and the rest of the Ethereum ecosystem. So we were actually conceptualized in middle of 2024. And at the background, the context to that is actually, there's more censorship, there's more centralization risk. And also at that time, there was a lot of risk of, good experienced developers going into other ecosystems. And we're really trying to provide a more friendly ecosystem for all these, talents to remain building on Ethereum. So that's why we do a lot of content such as translating, key Twitter research posts that are available to the rest of the Western world, but not available to Chinese community because Twitter is banned. Yeah. And also we do a lot of events on top of content. We do hackathons. We are hosting ETH Shanghai hackathon on the 18th to the 21st of October, and we're hosting a ETH Shanghai conference on the 22nd of October. So yeah, we do a lot of videos as well. For example, the ETHPanda talk, we interview Vitalik, Xiaowei, and Audrey. And yeah, we're probably gonna interview Thomas during our conference. So yeah, if you're interested in that, we'll make sure that we put up English subtitles so that it's actually accessible to everybody, both English and Chinese speakers. But of course, Thomas is going to speak in English. We're not going to make him speak in Chinese.
That would be pretty fun. And Vaelyn, I'm curious, in the Chinese ETH developer ecosystem and network, is there a difference in terms of what Chinese developers are really focusing on and wanting to build as compared to maybe developers in the West? Because we've noticed that there are certain, in the West, we're focused on certain things in crypto, India community a little bit differently, the rest of Asia and Southeast Asia a little differently. So I wanted to get your take as to, is there a difference of an area of focus for Chinese developers specifically in your community that's different from other parts of the world?
I think in the Chinese developer community, well, at least for ETHPanda community, we're really focused on open source projects. So a lot of our contributors and a lot of more senior developers that come to our events as mentors, they are, founders of open source projects. So I think there is a sense of urgency to make certain dependencies or certain toolings available to everybody. So that's why there's an emphasis on open source projects. And I think the other hot topic would probably be RWA and also AI for sure. So these are the kind of projects that we see our developers building.
Okay, awesome. And on that open source side, what are some of the tools, if you can provide some examples to our audience, that would be really helpful to have be made more widely accessible?
Yeah, so for some of the open source tools, ETHPanda has a GitHub repository, and in that GitHub repository, we have a few templates on certain implementation of certain, for example, Ethereum Improvement Proposal or ERC. So that's, I guess, in a sense, the kind of tools that are open source and the community can use it. And we also have this program called the Co-Intensive Learning Program, which is another open source curriculum, and people could actually have access to it. If you're a complete newbie, you can visit our Notion page, and I should probably, make a post on ETHPanda Twitter about, our Web3 intensive internship bootcamp curriculum, where we have day by day curriculum for people who are completely new to Web3. And by the end of that bootcamp, they would know how to build a simple DApp on Ethereum. So some of the resources, apart from ETHPanda resources that we can recommend, is Goodnow, which we work quite closely with. I know it doesn't answer the question on open source toolings, the tooling part. I think what I'm trying to say is the open source repos or open source knowledge that people could actually access. And if I'm in front of a computer or, sit down on a desk, I will actually, do a post to tell more people about, some of the toolings that are available. So I'm really sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no worry at all. And we will do our part to share those links in the description for the show. If you get that to us, like the Notion link, because I think we have a lot of folks who would be really interested. And we also have people who need to know where can they get a hat like that? Does ETHPanda do cool merch or just plush pandas?
Yes, we do. Yes.
That's amazing.
We actually, if you come to ETH Shanghai conference, I think we ordered a lot of little ETHPanda fans. So it will be like a little panda, and then it will be like a spinny handheld fan, and you can fan yourself in the hot autumn days of Shanghai.
I am making a note that we're going to have to get some of those.
Yep, I need that.
I'll ask my co-contributors if we can make more of these hats. I think I got the last one.
Oh man, well you deserve it. And our kind of last question here is, we'll share those things for you, but is there anything aside from voting to support the project, if people are not staking GLM tokens or eligible to vote in this round of funding through Octant, is that the best way to support you, is to follow on socials, to participate in your educational initiatives? Is there anything else you'd ask our folks listening to do to support ETHPanda right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's okay if you don't have GLM staked on Octant. I think, the Chinese community is actually so much bigger than what we think, because if you think about the population of people with, Chinese speaking background, it's actually 1 in 5 people in the world. And our social media really needs more love, because I think that, our following doesn't really quite capture that community or that demand for accessible resources. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have, Chinese friends or, people who speak Chinese, people who want to volunteer, maybe as a translator or something like that. Just share our socials. We're available. If you're in mainland, we're available on Bilibili and WeChat. But if you're outside of mainland, including Hong Kong or Taiwan, we're at Substack, Twitter, where else? Normal websites. GitHub, that kind of thing. So
and they can find all the links at ETHPanda.org, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so one more time for people who are listening, it's x.com/ETHPanda_org, or the website is ETH ETHPanda.org. I did see you've got the links to GitHub, to Telegram, and I am sure that if people can't find it, they could probably just send you a message or leave a comment, and we will be happy to make sure that you get to the right place. Vaelyn, congratulations on being selected to Epoch 9, and thank you so much for making time to join the Rise Up Morning Show today. We really, really appreciate you. And
Thank
good
you
luck at the
so
rest of
much,
the event.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye
thank
for
you.
now.
See
Good to see you, Vaelyn.
Bye.
Brooke, we almost lost you there for a second. I was worried if you were
Sorry.
going to make it out of the internet. No, don't be sorry. I was concerned about you. I was like, did she get hoodwinked? Kidnapped?
I clicked the wrong button.
Ah!
Classic hoodwinked.
I really wanted to ask her how difficult it is to get Vitalik on a show, but I figured that's I can take that offline or online, but elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't know if I can go to Brooke or, but feel free if you have a question like
Sorry.
that, just, run over us. I introduced you
Yeah.
as guest host for a reason because you are very competent and capable to drive. And
So
that would be a
when I
good question
clicked the wrong button.
because
Also,
I know
the-
you're, trying to get him. Go ahead.
Also, the whole thing about Epoch 9 is telling a better story for Ethereum. So I was like, if we could just get a little bit more time, I was going to ask. I was like, hey, so what's the better storytelling that we need to have? What's your story? What's the story that you want to bring for
What's the
Ethereum and
story?
the ecosystem? What is it?
I
Okay.
will say
Yeah.
it's probably
Good idea.
safe to say that this is not the only Epoch 9 stream that we're going to run.
This is true. Well,
during,
Safe to say. Yeah.
during
safe
this
to
whole
say.
boondoggle.
I hope
I'm going to
we.
go live every day.
Ooh, lovely.
Ambitious.
Yeah.
Epoch.
Because let me just say this. I feel like I was talking to my boyfriend last night because you do know who else is in the Epoch. ZachXBT,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very
Nader
excited.
David, which I don't know, but in the DevRel world, Nader is like God. And I will say that because the guy has put himself into like the work that he's done is like I aspire to be that. So I don't know if you
And
should
Nader
go
does
check out his
great work.
content.
For
Nader
anyone
is
who's
incredible.
maybe heard the name, not sure where, he's involved with Eigenlayer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And he was an
He's there.
influencer at one time around what is
Mhm.
it, Amazon? He was like
Yeah.
the go-to guy for teaching people how to like build stuff on whatever Amazon's protocol. I'm way out of my depth here. AWS.
Yeah, AWS. Yeah.
Yeah.
On AWS. Yeah, he's incredible. So we've got like XBT, we've got the Ethereum movie, we have the girl with the Emmy, like there's quite a
People
few
pleaser.
and people pleaser. And like I don't want to sort of speculate on like what voters are going to do. I can't do that. But in my like analytical mind, because it could be anything, it could be like the voters are really looking to the people who put in the most effort in the next 3 weeks. And maybe, I don't know Zach, but maybe he doesn't necessarily put out any content. We're being told by the Octant people that like what we need to be doing right now is getting our information out there and talking about it, doing these live streams, doing content about it, making it very clear that we're in this and we're going to,
Mhm.
take this seriously. Not that ZachXBT isn't going to take it seriously. That is not what I'm saying. Don't cancel me, internet. However, there are those that maybe don't think they need to because they have such a big name. So I just, caution everyone to not get too big for your britches and, make sure that you're explaining, what it is that you do, because I feel like that's what Octant is telling us is like, make sure you get your face out there and your project out there and that you're not just like waiting for allocation to hit your wallet. That is just my take on it.
Have to say, I think you're right. I also really enjoy that there's like essentially no direction from Octant about what to create, which makes me feel better
Right.
about the way that the whole thing's going to go. Because obviously the only way that any creator heavy campaign or round or any of that kind of stuff goes is if creative freedom lies with the creative. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just paying for a face to say weird shit that doesn't matter. So in that same sense, like the best thing that someone like Zach, because as soon as I saw Zach on there, I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to try to manifest getting Zach on the stream because that would be so cool. But I mean, what do I as like an avid reader and viewer of Zach's content want to see from Zach? I want to see someone say some dumb shit, and I want to see Zach pop up in the comments with screenshots, and I want to watch him ratio the hell out of the original post, and then I want to go down that rabbit hole, because every time I read like him pathing something through an explorer, I get better at reading explorers. And as I say often, the most important skill that you can learn in all of Web3, in anything Web3 related, is how to read a blockchain explorer, because then nobody can lie to you.
Also, for those of you who don't know, because a lot of people here aren't on crypto Twitter, ZachXBT is basically, if he shows up in your comment section, you're usually in trouble. You're usually in trouble. He is like the boogeyman, but for the people. He's the boogeyman who is a corrective force against incorrect statements or errors listed by crypto projects or high-profile crypto people. He is the best, or at least the most public best, like blockchain Web3 sleuth, if you will, who will investigate and use his detective skills to find the truth and highlight it for the people and blast the folks who are lying or incorrect and shouldn't be, because they're in a position of influence, power, or some kind of marketing presence in the space, and they should be making sure that what they're saying is accurate.
And he's done quite a bit for law enforcement and government entities. He has found bazillions of lost and stolen money. The thing that I want to point out is, really based on what we're talking about with the Epoch 9 and what we're doing with content creation, there's a difference. And I can say this because it is out there publicly, but ZachXBT, I usually say the whole thing because I can't call him Zach. I don't know him personally. I do have
Mr. XBT.
It feels too close and too personal. Mr. XBT.
Right. Because I was a part of the cybersecurity Twitter for a long time, because I was going back to school to do a master's in cybersecurity, and then rage quit because they're really not cool with Web3, and that's a whole nother show. But
bullish on using the word rage quit to talk about school, by the way.
Oh, I rage quit my master's program after paying them quite a bit of money. And I was very vocal about it because I was actually treated, it was really wild how these really high level cybersecurity people talk about blockchain. It was wild to me. But ZachXBT has been very vocal about the fact that he's always doing it for free. And I use his air quotes because he was very vocal about it, for a long time. I'm not doing this for free anymore. And I get it. So he's always looking for funding, grants, donations. That's been a really big thing for him, is look, I'm technically anonymous. I'm looking for grants. And I do think, it's just my opinion, that he's looking at this as just another grant. And because he's gotten quite a few, and that's fine. I don't think he feels like he may have to do the same amount of marketing, but I just urge people to reconsider that, because I think the Octant voters are really involved in this, and they're looking to understand and not just go, oh, I see all the stuff you've done before, and so we want to give you this allocation as a grant, as a thank you, because
fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly what we're here to do. And if he wants to come on the platform, the invitation is certainly open. Mr. XBT, we'd be honored to host you, but I'd like to keep it going so we can honor the time our guests have given us to continue telling the story of Ethereum. And Will, do not let me let Artem get away without asking this question. I think we should include it. And that is your cue, if you're in the audience, to give a warm welcome to our friend Artem, who is joining Epoch 9 as one of our creators for Oak Research. Artem, thank you so much for making time to join the show. Do you want to tell the folks back home a little about who you are, where you're joining from?
Yeah, sure. My name is Artem. So I'm one of the co-founders of Oak Research. So we are an intelligence platform. We do lots of research on the crypto protocols, on various blockchains, on many things that are happening in crypto. We do also analysis of trends, look into some projects, looking at their valuations, making sense out of their numbers, trying to provide more insights about the crypto market in general, and for better and more informed crypto decisions. So I got in crypto in 2020, kind of went down the rabbit hole and just wanted to learn a little bit more every time. And at first we founded media. So I am based in France right now. So we also have a media in France called Oak Invest that was active before on Instagram. So we used to do like content about investments, and crypto was one of our main subjects. And actually throughout the years, we have produced many reports and even some printed reports like this one, which was the end of the year report from last year, basically where we go over everything that has happened during the year, and we provide some insights into what might happen in the years to come as well. I think that's pretty much it about what I do. And you just showed our Twitter, but we also have a platform which is oakresearch.io.
Yes.
It is so most of our research is free today, but actually this Monday we released the premium version because as we launched Oak Research last year, it was actually in October, end of October. And since then, we have not raised any funds. Every content we have provided was for free. So we have published over 160 pieces of research since our launch. So it's almost one every 2 days. Every piece of research, it's like at least 3 or 4, 5 pages long. We have published many reports which were way longer than that, many evaluations, and we were only able to exist because we got grants or funding from multiple protocols, multiple projects. We are working, so basically the projects that we are working with are the ones that we are choosing. So many of the protocols that approach us, we decide not to work with them because it doesn't align with us, or because we don't know how to present them to our audience. Because if you have a meme coin launchpad coming to you and asking you to present what they are doing to your audience, it's kind of you're putting your reputation on the line. So this is what we have been trying to do by selecting our partners. So working with really established protocols, great teams most of the time. And after all of that, we decided to find a path to sustainability in the long term, because you cannot always rely on grants or on protocols paying you. And so we decided to release new features for the platform. So we decided to keep the research free because that's what we think should be happening. So all the knowledge will be free to the audience that we already have and that we will keep bringing in. But then some features that could help you with your investments, those will be behind the paywall.
Artem,
Yeah.
It looks like the website is currently down for maintenance. So just want to make sure that we had the URL correct. Is there another place that folks can go, or just, maybe check back later and the report will be there, all those things will be there?
Under maintenance, actually.
I'm sorry?
It shouldn't be under maintenance. I just sent you the link.
I appreciate it. Let's give it a try. Oh, look at this. Here's the link you'll need to use, folks. If you just go to oakresearch.io, you will get a little ping. But if you go to oakresearch.io/en/home, hang on, I'll flash it on the screen. This is what you're going to see. So I apologize for the delay on the screen share, Artem. But thank you for the appropriate link. You said you had a take on ZachXBT, and I would be glad to hear it.
Yeah. So I was in the waiting room while you guys were talking about the whole thing. The thing I have interacted with Zach in the past. I've already said it in the previous live streams that I did. And the thing is, so if we are talking about this epoch, about Octant, so it's about Ethereum stories, and I think that Zach was one of those people in the crypto ecosystem in general that brought out most of the stories and who showed that there were many people worth calling out or being called out. For example, today Zach mainly focuses on Ethereum because he gets lots of grants or support from the Ethereum community. This is why he is able to track more people in the Ethereum community and all the L2 communities as well. But for example, he has never done anything on XRP because he has never received a grant from XRP or Ripple Foundation or a protocol.
He also
on Ripple.
doesn't do like BSB or what was the other one that he talked about yesterday. And I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want you to know that like I'm not like dogging on him, but I do keep it real. So like I do think he's looking at this as just a grant, and I don't think that's all it is. That's all I'm saying. He deserves all of it. He deserves all the things. That's not that's not.
Yeah, but I don't see Zach doing marketing for a grant.
And that's fine.
I don't think it makes sense.
Then I'm not sure what he expects to get out of the votes. I will be interested to see what happens at the end, because I could be wrong. He could get 40 ETH. I could be totally wrong. We don't know what's going to happen. But like to come on and say like, oh, to talk about like all the good things he's done, like, trust me, I've been around a long time. Like, so I think he's done really great for the space. And I'm so glad he made it in. But let's just be honest. Like, he's not going to go on Twitter Spaces and do any of this stuff for the Epoch 9. But by all means, you know, I'd love to be wrong about that.
I think it's a question about does he need to do it or no, and I don't think he does need to do it, because while we're talking, he might be the one who is researching like the transactions or tracking people. So I think once again it's we're talking about Ethereum stories, right? So it's not about who does the most spaces before getting the vote. It's about getting your name out there, interacting with other people. But I don't think Zach kind of fits this narrative among the other competitors, the other applicants. Sorry. So I think it's a different type of thing, and I think it shouldn't be treated in the same way. At least that's my opinion. And yeah.
Artem, I wanted to ask you this question. It's with the focus obviously on Ethereum, what would you say is the story of Ethereum in terms of just Ethereum as compared to how it's different from your Solana, your Avalanche, your Hedera, your Sui, your everything else? Like, do you see the story of Ethereum being unique and different from all the other platform cryptos out there?
Yeah, I do think so. I think one of the things worth pointing out, it's the when Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake. One of the main components of this whole thing was Lido. So it's a protocol that allows you to stake your ETH and actually keep your ETH liquid. So instead of locking it in the staking contract like you would normally do, you would actually have access to your staked ETH or ST-ETH, and you would be able to use it in DeFi. You can use it wherever you want, just to keep it liquid. And I remember when Lido launched, they had a huge market share of the staked ETH in the community. And the Ethereum community was kind of freaking out because they were about to get to 60% of the total voting power in the protocol, of the total amount of ETH delegated to Lido. And everyone was crashing out on Twitter, especially in the Ethereum community, because of the centralization risks that it actually brought to the Ethereum market. And I would say the Ethereum community is the one who cares the most about the decentralization and the network neutrality, because you do not see this, for example, on Hyperliquid or Solana, where people are frequently calling out the centralization, while in the Ethereum community, when it got to this point, even though Lido did everything to decentralize its ETH and to delegate it to other validators, etc., people still were freaking out about this. And so Ethereum is kind of different because I think of the vision that Vitalik kind of tries to propagate and has been throughout the years. I do think that protocols should care about decentralization, but you also see that, for example, ETH is slower to implement new changes and implement new upgrades, and all the updates of the network are consistently being pushed back or delayed because it just takes too much time and there is too much at risk. So I think lots of protocols, and I think we're starting to see it with Solana as well, what they were critical of within Ethereum. It was about, hey, you are taking too long to do something, or you're not innovating fast enough. But now when Solana has to push upgrades to its network, it realizes that, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. And I think Ethereum kind of paved the way for the whole thing, for all the delays and pushing back on some updates and stuff. And I do think still that most of the innovation and innovative ways of doing DeFi or doing some stuff on the blockchain itself comes from Ethereum and then is implemented on other chain, where the innovation can happen still, but most of the innovations come from Ethereum. And I think it's because there are lots of builders, lots of researchers, and lots of people that actually care about the future of DeFi, and they actually believe in the fact that Ethereum can become the world computer, even though it doesn't have the throughput or something else. But I do think that Ethereum has a beautiful community that has been built around the vision Vitalik has had it for it, and that other builders kind of kept and are still keeping today.
Well, thank you very much for sharing more, Artem. I want to invite you to tell us where people can support you. Like we've got the website, we got oakresearch.io. We know that you're on X at oak_res_en. You got the links to the French community too. Is there a call to action or specific ask that you have for our audience listening and viewing today?
Yeah, I mean, if you have your GLM locked, we have posted a proposal for our Epoch 9 contribution. So if you want to go check it out, and then if you want to discover our work, just go to our website. If you want to check out what we have in the premium membership, check it out. I'm fine with whatever. I was just here to chat about like the whole thing. Not really have anything to shield, but I just wanted to have a chat with you guys. So.
Well, we appreciate you for coming, and we look forward to having you back sometime to tell us more. Ladies and gentlemen, Artem, give him your support. Thank you for making time to join us today.
Thanks, Artem.
Okay, we've got another guest on deck ready to join us. It's Drew from Crypto Altruism. But first, I absolutely have to highlight two comments. First, this one from Tori that says, Brooke walks into wild situations to reflect the comedy and ridiculousness back to us. I like Brooke's filter as well. So point for Brooke, a point for Tori. And then we also had
the comments too, but
we had this comment from I missed who said it, but they said, good morning. I think it says I am Ray Todd on TikTok. Hey Ray, said good morning, beautiful people, and Alex. Alex, we love you, man. And then I
Alex,
also want to
beard is
bearded.
It's
definitely bearding.
It's getting beardy right now.
I want to highlight one last comment because I thought this is really important for anybody who's tuning in from our regular audience. You may feel like today's show is a little more fast-paced, a little less about drilling down on your crypto questions or any particular topic. Let's speak to each other and reason for a minute. Joe Lynn, hey Joe, regular listener, says, today's talk here is trash. I didn't learn anything new. It's all about each other, supporting your socials. And I want to encourage Joe and anybody else listening to think of this like going to a panel with Bill Gates, Steve Jobs in 1989, or sitting on a cobbled street with Marie Curie in the early 1900s and talking chemistry and physics. These are the people who have been chosen by the Ethereum Foundation to contribute to building the on-chain internet. And it's okay if you don't get excited about it, but you need to have appropriate context and understand like the gravity of the situation. If you're not into that, if you wouldn't be excited about going to see Bill Gates talk in 1989, I get it, he's a nerd, but this is a huge deal. Brooke, it sounded like you had a comment to add to that.
I just think, like, sir, if you just don't watch, like, sir, Joe, let me tell you something, Joe. I have a 21-year-old adult son. And so I'm going to say this as a mom. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, bye. Just don't watch. Just don't. I would never. If my son did that, I would be so disappointed. Like, we're here doing our thing, and you're sitting behind your keyboard. Like, who hurt you? But sending you love, Joe. I'm sending you love. Call your mom.
I just wanted to apologize to Joe, because
Yeah.
I'm sorry that someone has a gun to your head.
Oh.
Sorry, someone has a gun to your head.
Who hurt you, Joe?
if you're all perspectives are welcome here, but we do want to encourage you to like lean in. Alex, you're always saying when it's
Yeah.
like a bear market and there's nothing exciting to buy, like that's the time to lock in and pay attention, right?
And I know it's hard to do. Like, trust me, I know that it's frustrating when it feels boring, but I promise you will not regret it. That is financial advice. Pay attention when it's
Yes.
boring.
Beautiful.
Pay attention when it's boring.
I think it's time to welcome our next guest. So, ladies, gentlemen, monsters and machines, please help me in welcoming Drew Simon from Crypto Altruism. Welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show, and congratulations on being accepted into Epoch 9. How are you, Drew?
Hey,
Oh
Drew.
man, good to see you all. Hi everyone.
I love the guitars. I love the guitars. I love
Thank
the
you.
guitars.
Thank
And the
you.
banjo.
Yeah, it's so
my
good.
babies. They've been mostly like kind of showpieces lately. I haven't played as much as I would like to, but yeah, thank you so much for having me. I gotta say, Evan, it's not really fair for you to, say right before I hop on that these people are like the Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, as if my imposter syndrome wasn't big enough already, right? And then,
No pressure,
Aw.
Drew.
getting accepted to Epoch 9, I'm like, no way, I don't deserve to be here.
We think you do deserve to be here, and
100%.
Clearly,
You
so
know.
does the Ethereum.
Oh yeah, I
Foundation.
think it's
Yeah, I was about to
regular,
say, clearly
to
so
have
too.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So tell us a little more about Crypto Altruism and also yourself. Like, how did you come to be telling this story at this time about Ethereum in our space?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, and thanks again for having me. I love this show. I love the vibes. It's such a cool environment to be here. I got to start my morning off with this more often. Crypto Altruism started in 2021. At the time, I was working in the nonprofit sector, and I still do. I do consulting with nonprofits and organizations around the world. But I started also getting into Web3 around 2019, a couple years earlier, and I started to kind of see some of the exciting use cases from a social impact lens. But when I tried to bring these forward to my, partners in the space, colleagues, there was a lot of pushback, that crypto is just a bunch of criminals and shadowy supercoders in basements, and stealing money and ransomware and terrible for the environment, all those things that, we've heard, right? And so I wanted to help bridge that gap and show that there is, a lot of good happening in this space. A lot of really creative ways that folks are leveraging this technology for some sort of social and environmental impact. And so I made it my mission to show the world the good of Web3. Started in June 2021 with a blog, moved on to a podcast where we have about 250 episodes now. We've done a number of series, including one focused on the optimism ecosystem, one focused on Octant called Trailblazers of Octant, where we highlighted past Ee-Pock participants. And really, we're just about, showing the world that, Ethereum can be a true force for good. It can be a game changer for nonprofits, educators, activists, change makers that are looking for new ways to scale their impact, whether it's new ways to raise funds or new ways to share and track their impact or new ways to engage the community in that through decentralized mechanisms. So there's so many creative ways, and it's our mission to really help tell that story. And, a good place for our kind of hub of Ethereum for good content is if you just go to cryptoaltruist.com/Ethereum is where we have that. And so we have our podcast series, our blogs, infographics, all kind of on these different use cases. And, really it's just about creating a space where folks from traditional impact sectors, nonprofits, grassroots organizations, local communities can, get to a space where they feel comfortable with what Web3 is and how they can use it, for their, to scale their impact, and then having tangible next steps to do that. And part of that is, we're in the process of launching a toolkit for nonprofits as well, called our Web3 Impact Toolkit, which is a very comprehensive walkthrough of everything that a nonprofit, change maker would need to know to start leveraging Ethereum for good. It gives them a basic intro to the core concepts, 10 module course, tool, case studies, all those sorts of things. So that's the high level overview. I won't take too much more time because I know we're coming to the top of the hour, but yeah, that's a little bit about Crypto Altruism.
Drew, do you have any favorite personal stories of I don't know, people, certain companies or stuff using Web3 technology for good?
Yeah, I think one that I often go to that I think is super creative because it also shows that these solutions are more than just Web3. It's more than just Ethereum. There's so many different pieces of it. There's, the local community. There's, bringing in AI and IoT devices, all these things working together. And a great example that I think shows that is this concept of anticipatory action Are you all familiar with anticipatory action? Have you heard of it before?
For the people in
Yeah.
our audience who are not familiar, can you define it?
Absolutely. So what it is it kind of flips the idea of tradition of like foreign aid or humanitarian assistance on its head. And traditionally, what would happen is if there was like a natural disaster or something like that, then folks after the fact would send funds to the community to help those in need. What anticipatory action does is it tries to predict these events before they happen and get support to those in need before the event happens so that they can protect themselves. And there's a great pilot project that did this that was sponsored by Mercy Corps Ventures, and it was with a couple of different groups called Shamba Network, Diva Donate, and Fortune Credit. And what they did was they used satellite data, past weather data, other IoT devices to track local weather conditions and in Kenya. And when they found that weather conditions for pastoralists, so those that had herds of sheep and goats and cattle, got distressful and could impact their livelihood, they would automatically, via smart contracts, send funds to them, in stable coins to their wallet, which they could cash out through local on-ramps. So instead of having to wait for, some sort of extreme weather event like a flood or drought, and then sending money after the fact, and, at that point, financial infrastructure might be down. It might be harder to get the funds to those in need. The impacts have already happened. It's getting the funds to them in advance via crypto rails, instantly automated. It's all trackable, and tying in, satellite data, AI devices, all those sorts of things to make sure that we can help people before it gets to a point where it's really, destroying their lives. So that's just such a cool example to me that like touches on so many elements, of Web3. There's the oracles bringing the data on chain. There's the smart contracts paying it out. There's the stable coins. Like there's just so many elements there that kind of showcase the different ways that crypto can be used for good, and Ethereum specifically can be used for good.
I have to say, just because this immediately made me think of this, if we dig back into the chronicles of bullshit TikTok shills from years past, do you guys remember VXV, vector space?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah. Spoiler alert, it's not doing well. But when that project was first making the shill rounds, I did a video about it that was basically talking about how the idea was one of the coolest things I'd ever heard, and how the cryptocurrency itself was completely and utterly useless and a scam. But that was kind of the direction that one of the ways that they were talking about using AI specifically to track weather patterns and to try to get better at building more predictive models or destructive weather farther ahead of time by recognizing patterns that maybe we hadn't seen before in, whatever, and then being able to send more targeted alerts to more places in the world that would be affected by this kind of thing. And I was like, dude, that is such a cool use of AI. And then of course they ended up running more with the application of like helping hedge funds predict market patterns better. And then they released a cryptocurrency VXV to fundraise, and then the whole thing went to shit. But super cool idea. I'm a big fan of the weather angle for sure.
Yeah, it's really neat. And another group that's doing this is Etherisk, that with their parametric insurance, they do like crop insurance for smallholder farmers, something that was typically inaccessible for folks. Let's say smallholder farmers in Africa wouldn't be able to typically afford, crop insurance. Now can, because it's much more, it's decentralized, it's cheaper, it's, and it uses these mechanisms to predict things in advance and pay out funds before some sort of event happens. So yeah, it really is just an amazing use case, and one of so many, out there. And I'm discovering new projects and use cases in this like Web3 Ethereum for good space every day. And it's just wild.
Yeah.
And some of them are maybe more of those flash of the pan kind of fads, but there's a lot that have really good staying power and that are having a huge impact every day. So it's a really exciting space to be in.
I think it's worth highlighting, even if things don't last or things don't end up working out, just because these are all really cool ideas. The very first conversation I ever had with Octant was with James, who's I believe the head of Impact, and it was just over the staking ETH and donating the yield to nonprofit, like allowing people to stake their ETH to contribute the yield to the nonprofit of their choice. So nonprofits could sign up, and then they would go into this massive staking pool. And then anyone who contributed ETH to the pool would be able to choose in what percentage they wanted to delegate how much of their yield to whichever nonprofit. It was really, really cool. And I do want to give a shout out to a friend of the show, Jillian, aka Property Lawyer, who some of you may know. She's done a tremendous amount of work through her nonprofit, not associated with Web3 yet, although we're making the case that it should be. And she is actually very interested in working with some blockchains to help with this whole kind of thing. But she does a lot of like support farmers, and
Cool.
particularly keeping land, like land preservation, and mostly stopping governments from stealing land from people.
That's so cool.
But has done work all around the world, kind of in the same sort of area that we're talking about right now.
That's awesome. Well, I'd love to get in touch with her if she's ever exploring, just
Absolutely.
even like connections or similar like aligned projects that I could, help connect them with. To
No,
get them
I'll
into space for sure.
happily make the connection for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, I'm seeing, so it's funny in the comments that Adam Savage and Ed Sheeran, I have heard both comparisons before. I've also heard Seth Rogen. I don't know if I feel like I necessarily look like that, but that's
What's
hilarious.
Ed Sheeran? 100%.
Well, you got the guitar
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah, you have the guitars
Yeah.
behind you too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Drew, is there any ask that you have as you work to tell a better story about Ethereum for the audience to support? We have maybe some folks in the Octant block. Obviously, you want their votes, but other asks for people who want to support you, get involved. What's the best step to take?
Yeah, I would say honestly, I started getting involved in Octant about a year and a half ago, probably. And, I started just by getting involved in the spaces on Discord, on, X, whatever it is, just like get involved in this Epoch. And if it's not, supporting us, that's fine. Just get involved. You might not have GLM staked yet, and you might not be able to participate in this round. That's okay. Use it as an opportunity to learn, just see what it's all about. It's such a cool community to be a part of. So I'll use my kind of opportunity right now to say, definitely, just get involved in the round, learn about the projects. If you want to get in touch with me, all of our contact information is on our website, cryptoaltruist.com. You can hit us up there, and I would love to get in touch and discuss how we can work together.
Drew, I have a question. You've been a part of the Octant sort of community and you've watched what has happened. Personally, I didn't know a lot about Octant until the application process. I feel like I have so many things going on that sometimes it's hard to me to focus on one thing. And so I'm really, really focused on this over the next 3 weeks, which is hard for me because there's so many things. But in the past, historically, have you seen that the voters are really looking for as much information and as much getting out there, getting your face out there as possible? Or are they really, is it just a crapshoot, really? You just have to do all the things and hope for the best?
Yeah, honestly, I think what I've seen in the past is that there's been projects that have been really surprising and that have done really well that were new to Octant because they've really engaged and told a really good story. One of those was a few epochs ago, and it's called Green Pill Dev Guild. They did amazing. They, I think, finished near the top. But there was also many years where groups like Protocol Guilds that had those consistency, in the space were at the top, many rounds in a row. So I think it really depends on the round and the engagement and the approach you take. And I think planting those seeds and being a part of that community and engaging in the Discord spaces and everything really helps kind of get your name out there. It's a very close, tight-knit community, I find. So I think it's just it's a tricky question because I've seen it kind of go both ways. But what I will say is that if you are interested, I do have a page too. I'll post it in our chat here. Maybe it can be shared because it's a bit of a longer link where we have some interviews with past Epoch participants. Like Protocol Guild, Green Pill Dev Guild, some folks from Climate Coordination Network that helped run the climate round, where you can learn a bit more kind of about, them and their approach and participating in the epochs. But Green Pill Dev Guild is a great example of someone who just went in and told a really good story, had a great campaign, and were hugely successful in the epoch because of it. So I've seen cases where, someone's already very established, like the Protocol Guilds and those folks that are such a part of the community that they'll get that, funding and support, and then those that are newer to the space that really tell a really good story and do very well as well. So I think it can go, either way for sure.
Gotcha.
Thank you for sharing, Drew, and thank you for making time to join us today. We'll definitely have you back again to check in. But in the meantime, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful week and good luck with the voting.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Take care.
absolutely. Bye for now. Okay, we've still got time, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines, people and creatures of all ages. And we've got to get into Brooke's story. I do just want to highlight a couple of folks from the comments, though. Aman, shout out. Kenya mentioned is tuning in from Nairobi. We absolutely love to see it. And our friend Katie just cannot said, God, I love the solar punk old school ETH maxis, and we concur. So thank you, Katie. Thank you, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you listen. This is your morning show. We're live Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 12 p.m. UTC, and of course, on demand at your favorite social. If you're just hearing us for the first time, then check out all the links at rumshq.com. You can find our YouTube, our X, our Apple Podcasts, a bunch of free educational resources, including the Rise Up community, which is a great place. If you've been popping in today asking a question like, hey, my Coinbase account is frozen, or hey, what's the news from Swift and how does it affect XRP? That's hard to answer in a comment while we're doing a whole live show. But if you jump into the free community, it is a wonderful place to ask a question, to share what you know, to learn, grow, and we say, rise up with others. We would love to see you there because literally the only thing missing is you. But now I got to tell you, this is the moment I've been waiting for all show. We had Brooke Lacey here at the butt crack of dawn to tell us about what she is doing for Epoch 9. So I'm going to give her some fresh canned applause and a little and say, Brooke Lacey, thank you for guest hosting the show today. Do you want to let the folks in the audience know what you teased earlier? What are you doing for Epoch 9?
What am I doing in the world right now? I don't know. The coffee did kick in. Not to say that in 5 minutes it go away. God, you guys get up early. I think it's really important though, like that you stay consistent. So this whole idea of Ethereum stories, we need to make sure that people understand, like this epoch, this epoch, epoch.
There it is.
Epoch is really, really like geared towards what are we doing differently to push this Ethereum story forward. And so the basic answer for me is that Amongst a Potted Plant is a derivative of Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. I come from a very long line of humorous people and have been doing sort of funny, irreverent comedy type things. I'm not a stand-up comedian because it's very much of, that's like an act. I have done, other things like with other people, kind of done improv and that kind of thing. I'm a really big fan of improv because that is kind of my whole deal, is that like I do kind of improvise these things. There's an entire hashtag on TikTok called Brooke's Laugh. And for a long time there, when I first got into TikTok, like it has a character of its own. Like I'm not exaggerating. There's 14 million video views. You used to be able to go look at hashtags and see how many video views. Now it's different, but I would keep track. And there's probably not even all of them because I didn't hashtag or I didn't link it or whatever. So I'm a really big believer in humor and bringing out stories based on how people, make you feel, and laughter is such a big thing. So I love the Between Two Ferns type of thing because it's just so awkward and obnoxious, but like not in a terrible, I don't like really, really calling people out, or like the roasting that goes like a little too far. Like it's funny, but this is different. It's not roasting, but it's also not like a normal conversational type of interview like this. And I haven't really done a lot of interview style content, so it's very different. So the proof of concept is actually 30 minutes long, but I cut it down to 5.5 minutes for the application. And then I cut it down even further for these little clips that I'll show you. I won't make you sit through 5.5 minutes of it. You can just go to the Notion site that I sent the guys in the chat. And that gives you a little bit more of like an overview. But what I've been calling it's a witty conversational series that brings out the human side of Ethereum's cultural and technical leaders. And the reason why I brought this up into the Epoch is that it is a highly produced show. And I'll show you the proof of concept happened at a conference called Rare Evo. Like
tell this story.
Yeah,
because this is like serendipitous, winding your way into this proof of concept.
So Rare Evo is deeply associated with Cardano, but it's also kind of cross-chain as well. But Charles Hoskinson is like the main speaker at these. Well, I think it's still like that. But at the one I was at, Charles Hoskinson, who is a very polarizing, he's a nut. Like, let's just say how it is. He is nutty. And I thought for sure, okay, so his marketing person from IOHK reached out, I think, to a lot of the people that were going to be there, because I was going to teach a cybersecurity workshop. I actually did. I taught a cybersecurity workshop at Rare Evo. It was a hit. All these people showed up. It was great. I also make learning humorous as well. Like I joke, about different things, just like how absurd. Yeah, I will screen share. Give me 1 second.
Oh no, you're fine. Don't tell the
okay.
people what's happening backstage. They'll see
sorry.
right through my fake radio show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I feel naked.
I can only do one thing at a time. Let me finish the story, and then we'll go to the next.
Take your time.
Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. So the marketing person reached out to the people who were like on the website, like, here are the influencers going or whatever. And I was, on there. So then she goes to the TikTok and it's like, hey, do you want to interview Charles Hoskinson? And I'm like, well, that's not really my normal content, but sure, why not? Like, I will take this opportunity. Whatever. I'm down for anything. Like, can I interview funny? Obviously, yes. It's just not my normal content. I do like doing the live streams and, talking to people. So I said, why don't we do something different? And I've always wanted to, I just had a feeling that like, he will go along with this. Like he will do this, because it's not just me that has to be funny. They have to go along with it. So I'll get into the like plan for the future, because it's going to be tricky. But I sit down and I have this potted plant in my hand. I'll show you the screenshot here in a second. And I just go into it, and it was a hit. Granted, for about 20 minutes, he just rambles about something or other. So that was kind of like his agreement to do it, was like, oh, but let me also talk for 25 minutes about Cardano. And I was like, sure. Because in post, I'm going to cut that out. Totally fine, dude. Whatever you want to do, because this is about me. This is about my content. And then, so I'll show you, but then I'll tell you after that, Rare Evo did kind of clip it up and do some stuff for me, because I wasn't going to be able to do it. It took sound people, which actually the sound is terrible, so don't use them. It took like multiple different. It took multiple camera angles, like something that I was just not going to be able to set up. Because that's why I'm successful, is that I can just like look at the phone on TikTok and be like, blah, 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 and like have 1 million views. So, setting up a whole show. So after that, a few organizations were like, we really think you should do this show. And I'm like, are you going to produce it? Because it's going to cost money. There's a big cost to this, because I'm going to have to fly to them, find them, set it up with their marketing, set up the cameras, have people travel with me. And when I was filling out the application, my boyfriend and I were sitting there, and I'm like, what if I don't get a ton of funding, but we're still going to do this show? And he's like, let's just do it on a budget, and we'll just get a couple of cameras. We'll set it up. He's like, I'll be your cameraman. And I was like, okay, let's do this, because it's going to take a lot of funding. So let me show you this screen. First of all, entire screen, share system audio.
Look at this. And while Brooke is doing this, let me tell you, you can find this and so much more wherever you follow her. But this was from an article you posted to X, right? Is where you link this at Brooke J. Lacey. That's where you are on all platforms too. Yeah. Brooke
J. Lacey on everywhere. I'm even starting a Substack, but let me show you the
article.
Trendy. Actually, the article, I don't know if I'm going to do much. This actually has the short clip. So let me show you that one in just a second. this is what they're going to see if they go to that Notion page, which is, just a little bit more information. Why does this matter? Ethereum has some of the most important ideas of our time, from decentralized coordination to zero knowledge proofs. But too often, those ideas are trapped in technical talks and white papers that only insiders consume. Most people connect through stories, humor, and personality, not jargon. By showing Ethereum's cultural and technical leaders in a new light, funny, human, candid, even a little awkward, this series is going to break down barriers and make Ethereum relatable. So that's kind of like, we're talking about mainstream resonance, humanizing builders, expanding the narrative. So I kind of went all in on, like, we've got to make this content sticky, essentially. And how do we do that? We put it in a totally different light. And so this is a 30-second clip. Let's see. So here we go. Welcome to my show. Yeah, let's just make sure he gets his phone out of the way. My name is Brooke Lacey. I am super TikTok famous. So here we are with Charles Hoskinson. This show is called Among the Potted Plant. We don't have two of them, so it's just the one potted plant. Charles, cryptocurrency, what is that?
So currency is broader, provides economics, for example, like central banks, they issue money to the reserve bank, and it's the dollar, and we build them in a global way.
You don't trust people around. So what is governance, and why do you want to be president of the United States? Welcome to my show. Yeah, let's just make sure he gets his... Okay.
Yeah, so for people in podcast land, there are so many good like reactions of like Brooke just looking at Charles and being like, IDK, or like the physical comedy in this is so good. Like, I can just see you talking to Vitalik
yes.
or whoever about. I think it's
not
hilarious.
only does the laugh have its own character, but my facial expressions. There was a viral video a couple years ago about women in Web3 panels, and my whole thing is the facial expressions. I never really got that until TikTok, because it was so much of my face. But TikTok wasn't the first time I was like on camera. So I talk about that a lot, like how long I've been doing video content. Long time, but mostly like back in Facebook days, it was like very vlog style, and it wasn't like my eyes. I apparently have fantastic dark, like piercing eyes, and so that's not lost on me. So a lot of it is, again, the show has to be produced. Humor is jump cuts, right? It's the way that the video post-production, that is the biggest part of this. And if I get the lower end of the funding, I'm gonna have to do all that myself. And so there's probably only going to be a couple of episodes, to be honest. I won't be able to do the 8 to 10 that I'm hoping to do with the higher end of what I asked for on the funding side of it. But so like the parts of this that are funny are the ones directly on my face. Just like with the Zach Galifianakis, you can't there has to be a camera on me at all times, because in post, if they are not making the funny face, we've got to go then find some on the other camera that we can then patch in looking at me. It may not be in the same spot as we were actually talking at that time, but there's going to be, so it's a whole process. This is not just me doing two different angles and then, like just patching it together. To be funny, like that Women in Web3 panel video that is on my highlights on Twitter. It was very relevant at the time. It was about 1 minute and 20 seconds at the very beginning. And I sent it to a friend and she's like, this isn't funny. Like, I get what you're doing here, but it's not funny. I was so upset. I was just like, how could you say that? This is the funniest thing I've ever done. And she's like, it's too long. So that was like the trick for me, because I hadn't done those types of videos. I rose to success with just my face. Like, that is literally how it happened on TikTok, was my facial expressions, my laugh, my educational style. And listen, having a pretty face, I know these guys understand what I'm saying. Drew and Evan, like, it's the face card.
Notice she didn't say Ali, she said Drew and Evan. I know it was a verbal typo, but I just want that to be recorded. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. And I was looking at your name. I was looking at your name.
No,
You know
I
what?
host a morning show with two beautiful men, and
There are 3 of you.
I delight
3 beautiful.
when I delight when something like that happens. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off though. You understand the value
I'm
of
sorry. True. I
having a
even
face
was
card.
like, you know that like I love the face card because I said the beard is chef's kiss for those in podcast land. What I'm saying is like you have to be aware of the fact that you have a beautiful face, all 3 of you, because I had to accept that. And imposter syndrome, that's kind of another thing. If you look in the mirror, you know that like people enjoy looking.
Okay,
they're gonna have to with video content.
Let me reel you in a little away from, as much as I love
Sorry.
the glaze, I want to ask you a couple questions on behalf of the audience. Like, for example, Tori needs to know, will you have a new potted plant each interview or the same potted
Yes.
plant? Can you talk a little about, the evolution of this series? Like, how are you going to build it over like the course of this project? Things like that.
Yes. Okay, so the plan is, thank you for you reeling me in. I'm a little like delirious
I
now.
was just red in the face. You were talking about our beautiful faces.
Oh, you're just so cute. I love it. Yeah, sorry. Why was I going down that tangent? So the idea is to, yes, kind of stay with that proof of concept where I kind of just walked into that room and like found this potted plant. If you go watch the 5.5-minute one, you'll see that like part of it is like I'm not as dry humor as Zach Galifianakis, so there is a lot of my laugh because again, that's a piece of it. So there was a part where like I took the pot and it was a plastic plant. There's actually no dirt in there, and I kind of threw it, and we just laughed so hard because he was like, what's even in that plant? And he had like security there because he's worth like $1 trillion, and has he needs security. So the security was like over in the corner kind of looking at me, and so there was a part there where Charles is like, I don't know what you're doing with that pot, and I'm like, I promise I'm not gonna throw it at you. And they like got up. It was hysterical. So yeah, the idea is because what this show is going to require is me and my boyfriend traveling to set this up. We do have a cinematographer, I have a team, but that is for the high end of the getting the allocation. But we're going to just find a different plant either at an Airbnb that we're already at, or we're just going to go to the Home Depot or whatever and find a different one, probably one that I can hold in my hand, because that is what happens on that first proof of concept. Is there's one where I'm just like moving it toward him, like this, and well, it's like this, but like yes, I think and then I was holding it in my lap. So the idea, I think there's going to be one where I'm just holding it in my lap, but then there's also, if we can find like a giant one that I can put in between us, where I have to like lean around it to ask the question, like, hey,
Yes.
dude, like how absurd is that? Like there's a plant in between us. So yes.
Yeah, as somebody, Amsvar in our comments suggested a wilting sunflower, and I know that when we talked about it, you had all these ideas for like how to evolve the story.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be very exciting and very cool, and
I'm so invested in this.
Yeah, like I need to see this get funded. So we have to wind this down because we're at about that time where we're going to get final thoughts. We're going to ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. But I know you had said you're going to be streaming continuously throughout like the get to know you period. And you are here on TikTok. You're a friend of the show. You're going to come back. Like we're connected.
Yep.
But what is your ask for the folks listening right now? What can they do to support you today or in the week ahead as you endeavor to tell this story?
Honestly, I think please go follow me on X, on Twitter. I've been really successful on TikTok, and with Twitter, it's kind of just been like this extraneous thing where I shit post or I just do a little bit of like different stuff. I just never really went hard on Twitter. So if you can follow me on Twitter, because that's where the Octant voters are, and just kind of support me and forward it and do all the things you can. And I was going to say like the difference between doing AVAX content and Ethereum content is vastly, wildly different. I think AVAX is maybe a flash in the pan. I think they have staying power, but it just right now I don't know if they have an identity that they need to stick to. And that's coming from somebody, I have a brand partnership with them, but it is what it is. So Ethereum to me is the staying power, is something that, we as content creators can get behind and really push this to people and help them understand like what the, ecosystem is all about. And we know because of track record, what's going to happen in the future. So yeah, I'm excited. We need to bring humor into Ethereum stories, and see the cultural and technical leaders of Ethereum in a different light, and help people understand that we're all just human trying to figure all this out. We need to laugh, not take ourselves so seriously.
That's beautiful. Brooke, thank you for being a true gem, a friend of the show, and for making time to be our guest host on this special edition of Rise Up. Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't know how to sell this thing.
Brooke Lacey. We love you. Thank you very much.
I love you too.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Alex, as we wind this show down, I want to take people through a question that Tori asked, which is, so to confirm, the votes here determine how much money the people who are participating in Epoch 9 receive. It isn't locked yet, and that is correct. While I pull up Octant, just to round the show out with explaining it, I would love to get kind of your take on this process, or if you have questions you want to defer to in the audience. I know we haven't been as present with the live audience folks today. That would be a great place to take it. But hold tight. We want to explain to you how this works, because just like this is, a panel with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs before they built the future internet, I want you to see how the technology that makes cryptocurrency possible is helping Octant to democratize the allocation of funding, kind of like Drew was talking about with participatory aid. So give them a little razzle dazzle and stall while I pull this up.
No worries. No, I think it's a cool thing to shine a little bit of a light on, just because we talk all the time about this always bothers me. We talk all the time about who should invest in what and how much should you invest in this thing or that thing, or which ones are worth paying attention to. This is an example of the thing doing the thing that it says on the brochure.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're here buying crypto, investing in these startups, but you're completely like unengaged or disinterested in when those startups do the thing that they advertise. Like, how many times have you seen a shill for any crypto where they're like, oh, but it's going to change the way we vote. It's going to change the way we store this kind of data, or it's going to change the way we store these records or access this or privacy or whatever. And then someone's like, hey, let me tell you about how I'm using that crypto to do the thing that you just said you're super excited about. And you're like, oh, no, dude, show me something else. That's just stupid.
That's just stupid. Thank you very much.
Just stupid. And this is a perfect example of exactly like it doing the thing. Like we all love to like bull post about utility and use case, and then someone's like, hey, let me tell you about this utility and this use case, and it's like trash. So like, I'm bringing it full circle right back to you, Joe, Lynn, trash. This is quite literally what we're doing here. Like, the whole point of this entire industry is to build all these tools and then use them to do stuff. Yeah. And if it pisses you off to listen to people talk about the stuff they're doing with the tools that you are literally investing in, I really don't know what to tell you. But
I don't know what to tell you.
It's all about.
No, this is exactly what it's all about. So Alex, get ready to assist me with a little screen share. The first website, if you're playing along, that we're going to go to is octant.build. Okay, I just want you to see this. This is how they work. Okay, Octant is a place where you can earn ETH rewards by funding projects that you care about. They aim to become the first self-sustaining public goods ecosystem that allows individuals to contribute, but also then like corporations, institutions to kind of match those contributions in a way that isn't out of balance. Jeff Bezos can contribute to an election, But the system we have for Jeff Bezos to contribute to an election allows his billions and trillions of dollars to influence things more than your piddly little vote, even though we all just get one vote, right? This is a problem that people who are participants in democracy will be familiar with. And it is powered by a token called GLM. Every 90 days, they have an Ee-Pock, an Epoch, if you will, where a variety of public good projects, usually oriented around a theme like telling a story or addressing climate change or building infrastructure, will be chosen by community members, like people who hold the GLM token, people who participate in the Octant Discord, stuff like that, in collaboration with a foundation called Golem. Alex, remind me, how many ETH did they get and start staking early on? It's like
100,000.
100,000 Ether
for
tokens.
For
so
an average cost of acquisition of about $4.
Yeah, so they basically are staking this ETH and receiving interest for securing the network, and it's an infinite
Correct.
money glitch. A big part of the rewards they earn go towards funding this, and they want your help doing it. So you can participate by locking.
That's the whole pitch. They staked 100,000 ETH and they donate the yield.
Yeah, and you can participate by locking some of these GLM tokens. I want to say they're between like $1 and $2 right now. So, you know, for $100 or $200 each epoch, you can lock these tokens and then vote, and you'll receive ETH rewards when you do this. And here's like what that process looks like. If you go to now, the website I'm sharing is octant.app. This is their dashboard. It looks like just about any DeFi app. If you've ever used a D app like Aave or Compound or Morpho, you know, you've got a pretty simple, like you connect your wallet and it'll show you your current rewards that you're earning, how many GLM tokens you're locking, a record of donations that you've made in the past, and all the kinds of things that you've allocated to your reward rate. But what I really want you to see, this gets to Tori's question, is they have a whole tab about metrics. And this is a dashboard that shows how in the last epoch, they allocated funds to all these different projects, okay? So you can see here that this project, Grow the Pie, received 0.32 ETH in donations from 118 different donors. That is less total money than this project, Solidity, received. You can see here for people in podcast land, Solidity got over an ETH in donations, but it was only from 80 donors. And so what Octant does, what quadratic funding does, this thing I said is powered by the technology that makes crypto possible, is they do a little math of magic on the back end so that even though this project received less donations, because it was supported by more donors, more voters, if you will, they actually received more of the matching funds. They got 23 ETH in matching funds compared to the 21 ETH in matching funds that Solidity got. So this is a really powerful way to say, like, you know, if there are a lot of us, but we don't have much money to spend and there's something we really care about, then Octant will reward our participation with more of the matching funds. And that's what they're going to do here. Rise Up and Brooke and ZachXBT and Nader Dabbit and Crypto Altruism and all the folks we've talked to, ETHPanda, they are rallying the community to vote for the story they want to tell. And you can support them directly with funds. If you have a lot of ETH to donate, you can donate a lot of ETH. Or if you just have a small voice but want to be heard, you can donate a little ETH too, if you are somebody who has been locking your GLM tokens. Now, for some people listening, that means you can't participate and support us by voting in this epoch right now. But Alex, you know, everything they do to help our show is super meaningful. So what are some of the things that they can do to support us or any of these stories right now, you would say?
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is just engaging with the content. That's the single most important thing you can do to support any content that you want to see more of, is to engage with it. It's free to engage with, and it honestly goes farther than someone sending money, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, the most important thing.
I would rather any day of the week get funding from these like large organizations and stuff that can afford it, that's like what their purpose is. And if you enjoy it and you show up, that's it. That's so on Twitter specifically, like that, you know, our whole pitch to this thing was that we exist on other platforms. And I think that's one of the big reasons why we were chosen, is just because there's a desire and a drive to expand outside of the echo chamber of crypto Twitter. But at the same time, like that's where it matters. So if you happen to be in and around Twitter, first of all, sorry. And second of all, just engage, share, comment, all that good stuff. Let people know that you think this is worthwhile, because the voters are looking.
Yeah, and currently
care the most about.
We're streaming right now on all platforms as we usually do, but on X, our handle is Rums HQ, just like the website. And you can repost this. You can tag Octant. You can find on Octant's page, which is x.com/Octant app. You can find a whole bunch more about all the different people who are participating in this Epoch. They have tweeted about it several times, and like encouraging them, asking good questions, because, you know, even if you can't vote for us, this is a really important story. And we often say it because it's true. A lot of people in this cohort said it on our first cohort call, that telling a better story is everything. It's the most important thing any of us who care about cryptocurrency technology can do. Tori said earlier in the stream, she said, you know, that whole solar punk thing is interesting because half of them love crypto and half of them absolutely hate it. But I think that's because we haven't told a good story. And whether or not you have a fake radio show, you are telling a story with everything you say, everything you don't say, everything you choose to amplify or ignore, and therefore telling a better story. That's up to all of us. So Alex, man, thank you for helping me tell a better story always. I would love to get a final thought from you, but I actually wonder if you'll let me do just one more wild and wacky thing before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. Okay.
With a setup like that, how could I say no?
Well, we got a big fan here in the audience that I actually want to get a reaction from.
Okay.
And this could go completely south, and I'm ready to pull the plug on it any minute, but I want to join you, invite you to join me in welcoming to the stage, perhaps your long lost cousin. This is Cosmic Popovich.
Do you know who this is?
I have absolutely no idea. I think he's from New Jersey, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. We'll just see how this goes.
Oh, no. Well, he called in and then he hung up. Apparently, I told him he could give a reaction because he wanted to give me some flowers. I am not entirely certain I do. I thought I knew who it was yesterday, and now I thought I knew who it was today. And looks like we might have to wait until another time to figure out.
You're correct with Jersey.
To figure out who this is. Okay. Because they got rugged, I guess then really we just got to go to Alex for a true final thought.
Bearish.
I'm a big fan of this.
You know, honestly, I'm feeling well met. This was fun. I like getting to do shows like this. I do feel it makes me think like, God, I need to figure out like a way to do more with the chat. Although I know you said you hate it when the curtain gets pulled back. There's a lot going on.
Oh, there's so much going on. And there's about to be more going on if we have our, druthers about it.
There's about to be more going on. But no, I don't know. I like getting to do things like this. It was nice to have like backstage full of people and get to rotate some people up. I mean, we had someone call in from Singapore and France and the US all in the same show, which is pretty sweet.
Correct.
So bullish on that. And I don't know. I think I would echo the sentiments from my little mini rant while I was stalling for Evan. Like I know that it's not looking at charts. I know that it's not shilling something particular to buy. I know that it's not giving a nonsense price prediction with a number that I pull out of my ass. But none of this matters if people don't actually end up doing stuff with the tech that we're all investing in. And to be very honest, like the thing you should be the most interested in, don't let me tell you what to be interested in, but if you want to be an investor and you're trying to like pick things that can be successful so that you can make a bunch of money, and no one's ever going to do anything with it. Like, this is why I rag on XRP so much. Like, is the investment going to be fine? Yeah, probably. I mean, we said that yesterday. Like, was the Swift thing hilarious? Yes, it's the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. It brought me joy. How is it going to affect XRP? It probably won't at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. The price will probably not suffer. It's probably going to keep doing exactly the thing. I mean, and that is the power of a brand.
And hey, XRP pumped more than Linnea, the chain where Consensus is building this yesterday. So
no, but literally that's the power of a brand. That like let that be a lesson to all crypto things who rag on XRP and then also don't take the time to try to build a brand, because like you're getting skunked. And the market cap price chart rankings list don't lie. And look where they are and look where you are, and then tell me that your brand's not important. Because then your entire use case can get hijacked by a blockchain no one's ever heard of.
So
and
you're
your
telling me
price
there's
can
a
still do
chance.
better because your brand is that good. So I don't know, just all these things, tell the story, follow the tech, like be interested in it, give a shit when people say they're actually going to do something with it. Give it an honest shake, see if that actually matters. Use it, like use the thing. We're in the planning stages of bringing the guys from Goodnow on the show to talk about stuff. I'm really excited about that, because that is like that's a little bit more of an advanced DeFi place. Like there's basic kind of beginner stuff you can stake and all that good stuff, but like there's so much you can do there. And that's like what I hope comes out of it. I want everyone to like watch that show with Goodnow and then go to Goodnow and like do a little bit, like mess around, like see what you think about this, that, and all the other things you can do, because that's the application of everything you're learning. Like if you're a Solana investor and then a badass DeFi project comes along with all these things you can do, and you're like, nah, not for me. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
So
this is what it's all about.
This is what it's all about. I'm stoked to get to do more Ethereum based stuff. ETH was my entrance to crypto. That's and right. literally only because I thought that, God, that's a cool name. I was like, I like whatever that is. It was a brand, right? It was a name and a package, and I was like, yeah, that's badass. And so I bought it at $80, and now here I am 5 years later hosting a fake radio show with a pumpkin spice pirate talking about how we need to tell a better story about the coolest tech ever built.
And Mr. Mars Attacks and the blue banana.
And Mr. and getting financial. Yeah, here I am 5 years later getting financial advice from a blue banana, and I don't know what happened to me.
Hey there, normies.
But somehow it brought Will Watson into my life, and I guess that's whatever you want it to be.
We're glad for it. That's for sure. And we are glad that you have chosen to come along for the ride. All the people listening live, all the people listening in podcast land, wherever you are, whenever you listen. If you've got another crypto question, then 2 options for you. Option number 1, leave us a comment here or in the community.rumshq.com. I do see a few last minute questions coming in that I would encourage you to post there, because that is where the show lives 24/7. If you're not in it yet, the only thing missing is you. And come back tomorrow. We're going to be live 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 12 p.m. UTC for Web3 101 Wednesday. This is the show you share with your mother, your brother, your sister, your friend at the convenience store or down the street. If they are curious, concerned, have a question about cryptocurrency, we want to see you there. There's no such thing as a dumb question, but there are a lot of bad places to get information. The loudest voices are not always the most helpful. And we are here to do our best to put you in touch with a better story. So, my friends, join us then, and thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, be well, rise up.